In a quiet suburb of Tokyo, Hiroshi and Akiko lived a life that, from the outside, seemed perfect. Hiroshi worked as a successful businessman, always busy with meetings, deadlines, and late-night calls. Akiko, his wife, once felt proud of his dedication, but over time the silence between them grew louder. It started with small things: a missed goodnight kiss, dinners eaten in silence, and conversations that had become nothing more than routine questions about bills or groceries. Akiko loved her husband, but she couldn't ignore the growing distance. Each morning, he left before sunrise, returning late into the night, often falling asleep on the couch with his laptop open beside him. Weekends that were once filled with leisurely walks, movie nights, and intimate talks were now consumed by Hiroshi's work. She began to feel invisible, like a shadow in her own home. Loneliness crept into Akiko's heart. She tried to tell herself that it was just a phase, that work was demanding, and that it would pass. But the ache of being unnoticed by the man she loved grew deeper. The house felt colder, the rooms more spacious, as if echoing her unspoken thoughts. One rainy afternoon, as she stared out the window at the empty street, Akiko made a decision. She packed a small bag and booked a train ticket to her hometown, where her parents still lived. The bustling city of Tokyo faded into the distance as the countryside came into view. She hadn't been home in years, too caught up in her life with Hiroshi to find the time. When she arrived, her parents greeted her with warmth and concern. They noticed the change in her immediately. Her once bright smile was dim, her eyes tired. Over the next few days, Akiko spent time walking through the fields of her childhood, visiting the small shrines, and helping her mother cook meals she hadn't tasted in years. Being back home brought her a sense of comfort she hadn't realized she needed. She felt her spirit slowly rejuvenating, though the sadness of her strained marriage lingered in the back of her mind. One evening, as they sat together drinking tea, her father spoke softly. "Akiko, marriage is like tending a garden. It needs attention or it withers. Have you told Hiroshi how you feel?" Akiko stared into her cup, unsure of how to answer. She hadn't told Hiroshi the full extent of her loneliness, fearing it would burden him even more. But in that moment, surrounded by the love of her parents, she realized that perhaps she needed to fight for her marriage, just as much as Hiroshi needed to fight for their relationship too. With renewed clarity, Akiko knew she couldn't fix everything overnight, but she would return to Tokyo, ready to open her heart and have the difficult conversation she'd been avoiding for so long. She hoped Hiroshi would listen. She hoped he still cared.